My space is about, it's a lot of what if and nostalgia, just jumbled up with pop art. So I wake up any day and whatever I want to make, I make, regardless of the medium. So if I want to paint on a canvas, I paint on a canvas. Make a 8-bit pixelated Nintendo art, I'll do that. Or if I just want to sculpt a piece, it's literally whatever I want to do. My main focus has been on the figures because of the image. Having a person just see that they exist and to see figures that they connect with, or just to see people educate another person explaining who a person is for the first time seeing it. This is the Jean-Michel Basquiat. That's why I have them in the window. It's pretty much to bring you in, to look at them, and people to see something that we don't see a lot. A Jean-Michel Basquiat piece, it was me just envisioning what he would have looked like on a normal day at his studio. So I just imagined him with a whole bunch of paint on his hands and wiping his hands off on his pants, and the paint all over his shoe from all the paintings he has all in the studio at just working on them all at one time. Just capture Basquiat, you know, in that way. When I went looking for African American pieces, you're limited to an action movie or and maybe a Martin Luther King, but then it's like stops. That's why I create them. I took the time to learn to sculpt, from sculpting how to cast, and then just to use the resin the right way and which type of resin to use. Even just a way of finding the clothing and learning to become my own one-stop shop. This is a resin cast, but the hair is sculpted out of clay. So I casted them bald, and the reason I left them bald is so I'll try a clay sculpted afro first, and then later on I'll try a real hair sculpt. But with painting the figures, it was a whole different thing. I could paint lighter skin tones, Caucasian, Asian, I could paint all that, but I couldn't paint African American skin. And that's what was throwing me for loops. I can't even paint my own people. How am I gonna learn? Because I don't want to just look just that brown thrown on it like they do the Ken dolls. So I literally learned how to paint from watching young children on makeup videos on YouTube explaining what colors to use. And what happened was I applied those to the figures, and it just took off from there. Who would do a Langston Hughes figure, like, or who would do a James Baldwin, because you can't hear him speak because he was a charismatic person. How can I make you see him? So it's like making his eye look off to the side a certain way. Like, so we're having a cigarette hanging out his mouth, like he's having a deep conversation. Them together, sitting there on the bench together is perfect. It connects with other people when they see him because they think the same thing. What are they talking about? One person did his voice. That gives me a better feeling than anything, to know that I took the time and effort and someone gets it. I don't know where I'm going, I just know where I am. And for people to come that don't know me and to come here and say, hey man, you're going somewhere, to have another person that doesn't know you see your future for you, and it's positive. And from where I come from in the background, I'm a black man in America, like to hear positive things from a person that doesn't know you.
After my husband died, I tried to figure out what the remaking of me looked like. I had to take 40 years of a we and turn it upside down and make a me. One of the things that I did was kept a notebook. And in the notebook, I was able to discover what I really wanted to do was something to do with art. So I packed up and applied, went to UArts, and here I am, I'm an artist. They had a great program to allow someone to be able to go through a post-baccalaureate program. And that's what I did, post-baccalaureate, that allows you to matriculate into an MFA. The thread actually is a metaphor for me. I make thread do things that nobody believes it can do. I sculpt with it two-dimensionally and three-dimensionally, and just challenge it to be more. That's what I did to myself. After Ed died, I had to figure this out, like I said, and you know, I challenged me. Illusions is the first piece. It's kind of like the illusions of more. And the shadings that can happen that can trick your eye and make you absorb and come closer and closer into the work. When I do just thread work, I'm trying to do that, draw you in. When I use things like Atchafalaya Prize, it's using Tyvek. Now, who would have expected that? Blend that with my thread work, blend that with leftover yarn, cured coffee filters that have been painted. I like to tell people that all of my work contains thread, but when there is a material other than thread, it's actually a recycled material. That's a fun way of saying that I work with trash. I struck upon using, and I began using, the recycled materials in my work simply because they are actually a metaphor for widowhood. We throw away so many things in this world. When you've been widowed after that many years together, you feel kind of thrown away. You feel useless and wasted and empty. So my goal, I always try and find something that I can recycle, and I do that so that I can actually give it new life as something beautiful, just like art itself did for me. This pier and I were kind of married at the heart. That's a 93-year-old shipping pier that's had other lives doing other things that are so totally different than what it is today. It's kind of my life. And it's just kind of, we were remade together. We've had an opportunity here at the pier to be able to piece something bigger than what we are. This pier is a special cultural place. I encourage people all the time, go into the artist studios, have a conversation. That's the part that has meaning to me. Of all the wonderful things that have happened to me while I've been here at the pier, that to me is the most special. Getting just a tiny little chance to contribute to tomorrow.